Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. For the next 4 weeks, I'm literally going to be looking and talking in depth about the 4 chapters of Ruth. Today I'm starting with chapter number 1. Backstory. The reason why I want to do Ruth is because the other day I was like, no, I actually need to find a book in the Bible that I can read in terms of like chapters. So I asked a sister in the Lord and also a minister at my church what I should read, and she said that I should read Ruth. And she said that I should read Ruth because it's a good book to read. And I was like, oh, like I've read, but like in my head I was like, oh, I've read Ruth before, like it's just, you know, one of those Bible stories. It's not just one of those Bible stories. And it's also important to remember to not be so naive to say that a Bible story is just a Bible story, because there's so many underlying meanings in the actual story, because there's always something and there's always a revelation that can be found in the Bible story. So I'm coming to you guys to share with you guys what I learned from Ruth, and actually what I'm taking away and want to implement in my own life, because because before I read it, I said, Holy Spirit, when I read this chapter, let me get revelation of what you want me to actually like understand. And best believe, there's something about that book, yeah, that I feel like when I get to the end of it, when we get to the end of it, that it will literally be like, wow. Ruth chapter 1, what is a brief summary on what Ruth chapter 1 is about. So Elimelech and his family, his wife Naomi and his 2 sons, I think Mahlon and Chilion, moved to Moab from Bethlehem, Judah. They moved because there was a famine in the land, and I suppose it was just to get away from what was going on and go to newer ground. However, if you know, Moab is a place whereby they would worship other gods. It was a place whereby they would practice certain things like sexual immorality and stuff like that. Whereas in Bethlehem, Judah, they worshipped God. It was known to be a place whereby God would reside, and they were people of God. So they moved from a place of knowing God and identifying themselves as people and children of God to a place that didn't actually know God, and they were doing so many different things that were not pleasing to the Father. Eventually Elimelech died, and his 2 sons grew up, and they had wives there, Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. And obviously eventually the 2 sons died, and it was just Naomi and her 2 daughter-in-laws, and they stayed with Naomi. So eventually Naomi heard wind that the Lord had visited Bethlehem and visited the people to bless them with bread. And it's in that, let me relax, I'll go deeper into it in a minute. So she heard wind that the Lord had visited the land and that he gave his people bread. So she decided to up and leave Moab, because she said, no, God came and he came and blessed my people. Now the Bethlehem doesn't seem so bad. Let me go back. So she packed her things and said, let me go back. And then her 2 daughter-in-laws were like, no, we want to come with you. We don't want you to be by yourself. Let me come with you. So, but Naomi was just like, no, you can't come with me. I don't have any sons for you people to marry. There's no way I can find a husband and have kids now. And what, are you gonna wait? And she was just like, what? Like if I have a husband, if I have kids and I give birth to 2 boys, are you guys gonna wait until they're grown for you to marry them? And she was just, I think she was just actually, like, now thinking back, she was a little bit sarcastic, but she was just basically saying like, no, don't come with me. There's no need for you to come with me. Like, I don't have anything for you. Because she understood that they're her daughter-in-laws. She doesn't owe them anything. But they were pleading with her. She said it again, no, you can't come with me. Like, you might as well just go home to your family, blah, blah, blah. Orpah basically just said like, okay, like since I've got the chance, let me go back. She knew in her heart of hearts, yeah, like, I can't let go of this lifestyle. I can't let go of the Moab people. I need to stay in my place. So she just said, you know what, since Naomi, you don't want me there, let me peace out. Do you know what I'm saying? But Ruth was so determined. She said, no, I'm not going. She said, where you die, I die. She basically said, where you get buried, me too, I'll be buried. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Ruth compromised everything. She compromised everything to be there by Naomi's side. She understood. Oh, I'm getting a bit too excited. So she understood that, okay, I have to play a position of a daughter. She understood that she had to bypass being a daughter-in-law and become a daughter, because she felt like she needed to be by Naomi's side. Naomi was just like, this child, like, she doesn't want to listen to me. So, and she saw that, okay, she's so determined that she decided not to speak to her. Imagine you stop speaking to her until you get there, you're not talking at all. Like, you don't want to talk. You don't want to talk to her, because why? She's so determined to stay by your side. So obviously when they got to Bethlehem, people became excited to see Naomi. They got excited to see that one of their own has returned back to where they actually were meant to be. So obviously people were excited. They were like, oh, is this Naomi? Da, da, da. And Naomi's response was basically just kind of like her expressing her pain, but kind of blaming God, like, oh, the Lord has dealt with me bitterly. Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara. Because she said, don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, because the Lord has dealt with me bitterly. She's just expressing her pain, basically blaming the Lord, and it basically ends there, that they ended up staying in Bethlehem, Judah. What I actually learnt from reading Ruth 1 and the revelation that I got was Elimelech and his family they were not supposed to move to Moab. It was not part of the will of the Lord for them. Hence why when they moved, Elimelech and his 2 sons eventually died. It is because of the mistakes of Elimelech. It's because of the mistakes because we all know a man is meant to be the head of the house. So for them to all move, it was the decision that he decided to make, and it's the mistake that he made that actually ended up dying. His 2 sons ended up dying. But the question is, why was Naomi still remaining and the 2 daughters? It's because it's through, some of you are not going to like what I have to say, it's through the lineage. Because of the mistake of Elimelech, the lineage had to be, like, the lineage was cut off. Why? Because you stepped out of the will of the Father. You stepped out of what God actually wanted you to do. You're meant to be in one certain place, but you move to a certain place because it seems like it's greener pastures. You can't go from one place to the other and think that you can't go from a place where God abides, this is the place where God is, and go to a place where it's completely foreign. They don't even worship the same God. They don't even do the same things, and it's different. It's just understanding that it's through Elimelech's lineage it's through Elimelech's mistake that they had to be cut off. And Naomi realized what was going on, and it's through her, and she was going through so much pain that she was actually, in speaking to Orpah and Ruth, in her expressing her pain, her actually acknowledging that I was not meant to be here. She understood that it was a mistake that was made, and she realized that she's not supposed to be here, especially when she heard that the Lord had come to bless the people with bread. That was a sign to her. That was a sign, and it showed her that no, like, I'm not meant to be here. Where I'm meant to be is in Bethlehem. But it shouldn't have taken the Lord visiting Bethlehem for her to decide that we need to move back. But obviously when you hear that there's good news and you hear that something's going on great at the place that you left before, you're going to go back, because that's the place you're supposed to be. when she went back, people, even though she had been in Moab for many years, people still recognized her. They still knew who she was. They still gave her the same respect that she had when she was still in Bethlehem. And it's when you go back to the place whereby you're actually supposed to be, when you return back to the Father and you return back to the place that you are supposed to be, you will be celebrated. You will be celebrated because that's what you're meant to be. When you come back and want to embrace the will of the Father, you will be celebrated. And it's through that that eventually Naomi was promoted, but we'll speak on that when I speak about the other chapters. When you come back to the place of the Father, when you come back to the presence of the Lord, you are actually said, like, you are acknowledged. Your return is acknowledged. It's like the prodigal. Is it the prodigal? What is it? Prodigal. It's like the prodigal son. When he came back, his father rejoiced at his return. When you come back to a place that you're actually supposed to be, you will be celebrated. There will be certain people in your life whereby they will say, yes, I want to go on that journey with you. Yes, I want to be on that path with you. Yes, let's grow together. Let's do this. But at any given chance, they will return back to where you were before. Why? Because they don't want to let go of that certain lifestyle. It was like that with Orpah. She didn't want to let go of the lifestyle of the Moabites. Why? Because it's what she was used to, what she was accustomed to. However, there will be people like Ruth who are strategically placed in your life to actually help you, to actually grow with you, to actually be there to care for you, and you care for them. There are people that are strategically placed in your life because they're meant to be a blessing unto you. Ruth was a blessing unto Naomi because Ruth, she understood the assignment she was on when she entered that family. She understood that she had to be a daughter rather than a daughter-in-law. She understood that Naomi was at a place whereby she was still mourning the loss of her husband and her children, that she felt like she had to take up the role of a daughter and actually, get Naomi to understand that despite you feel this pain, I am going to follow you always. And when she said that your people will be my people, your God will be my God, and she was saying all these things, and she was saying it's only by death that will part. She was literally saying that. She was making a covenant there and then that I will not leave your side. It was on Naomi's behalf that she made that covenant and said that, no, I'm not leaving your side. I'm coming with you. She said, I'm compromising everything to come with you. That is what we need to understand, that people are strategically placed in your life to be that kind of blessing, the kind of blessing that Ruth was to Naomi. Imagine people telling you, no, like I'm actually going to be by your side, whatever you're going through. Because Naomi was going through a really dark time, hence why she decided to change her name, because she was going through it. Hence why when Ruth was being so persistent, she just decided not to speak to her, because what more could she have said? And we as believers, we need to see it as we are strategically placed. We're strategically placed in this world to be a blessing unto other people. We're not on this earth for our own pleasure. God made us for his own pleasure, but we just need to be on a certain assignment in his vineyard. So we need to be like Ruth and understand that when we make certain covenants, when we make certain promises with God, that we actually need to follow through. When you make certain covenants, you need to understand why you're making those covenants. You need to understand why you're saying the things you're saying and actually follow through with it. Because many of us, we make certain covenants with God and then we step back and we're like Orpah and we're like, no, I don't want to do it. But you need to understand that you can't be like Orpah. You decided to follow Christ. You decided that you wanted that relationship with him. When you make the Lord's Prayer and you actually repent, that's a covenant being made. You're written, when you repent and you come to Christ, you're written in the book of life. Don't be that person whose name is taken out just because you wanted to step back and you thought that this was too much and you thought that, no, I can't do it. No, there's a certain lifestyle I don't want to leave behind. No, God likes yes or no. He said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. So when you actually say no, like I have when you say, no, God, I want to follow you. Like Ruth said, I'm going to follow you to where you're going. When you say, God, I want to follow you, it's God, I want to follow you. That foundation must be built. That must be followed through. It can't be, yes, God, I want to follow you, but no, I'm going to still drink. I'm going to still party. I'm still going to wear whatever I want to wear. I still want to do certain things. But you're, again, the Lord said, if you're lukewarm, I will spit you out. That's really what I learned from Ruth. And I actually sat there and I was like, no, God, actually have mercy on me, because I've been like Orpah, especially recently. I've just been like, oh, I want to go back to certain lifestyles. And I actually understand now that I read Ruth for a reason. It was the perfect season for me to actually read it, because of how I've been feeling. And the advice I've been getting is that I need to obviously rise up. I need to, you know, step out of whatever I'm feeling right now. And Ruth was just a confirmation of what I've been told. And I was just like, whoa, like, God actually have mercy on me, or the times where I felt like I want to take a step back into a certain lifestyle. I want to step back into things that I used to do. Why? Because it's what I'm accustomed to. So like, I understood that I must be like Ruth. I must take on the characteristics like Ruth, that no, God, I'm wholeheartedly following you. So everything that I say I want to compromise, or everything that I say I want to sacrifice, that's the perfect word, sacrifice. The thing that I want to sacrifice, I actually need to sacrifice them, especially if I said that I'm going to follow him. I hope that you guys were blessed by this teaching, and I pray that you guys have a blessed morning, noon, night, whatever time you watch this video, and God bless y'all. I love you with the love of God. But yeah, bye guys.